The second tumbrel empties and moves on. The third comes up. Crash. And the knitting women, never faltering or pausing in their work, count 2. The supposed Evrémonde descends, and the seamstress is lifted out next to him. He has not relinquished her patient hand in getting out, but still holds it as he promised. He gently places her with her back to the crashing engine that constantly whirs up and falls, and she looks in his face and thanks him. But for you, dear stranger, I should not be so composed, for I am naturally a poor little thing, faint of heart. Nor should I have been able to raise my thoughts to him who was put to death, that we might have hope and comfort here today. I think you were sent to me by heaven. Were you to me, says Sidney Carton, keep your eye upon me, dear child, and mind no other object. I mind nothing while I hold your hand. Shall I mind nothing when I let it go, if they are rapid? They will be rapid, fear not. The two stand in the fast-thinning throng of victims, but they speak as if they were alone, eye to eye, voice to voice, hand to hand, heart to heart. These two children of the universal mother, else so wide apart and differing, have come together on the dark highway to repair home together and to rest in her bosom. Brave and generous friend, will you let me ask you one last question? I'm very ignorant, and it troubles me, just a little. Tell me what it is. I have a cousin, an only relative and an orphan like myself, whom I love very dearly. She is 5 years younger than I, and she lives in a farmer's house in the south country. Poverty parted us, and she knows nothing of my fate, for I cannot write, and if I could, how should I tell her? It is better as it is. Yes, better as it is. What I have been thinking as we came along, and what I am still thinking now as I look into your kind, strong face, which gives me so much support, is this. If the Republic really does good to the poor, and they come to be less hungry, and in all ways to suffer less, she may live a long time. She may even live to be old. What then, gentle sister? Do you think the uncomplaining eyes in which there is much endurance filled with tears, and the lips parted a little more and tremble, that it will seem long to me while I wait for her in the better land, where I trust both you and I will be mercifully sheltered? It cannot be, my child. There's no time there, and no trouble either. You comfort me so much, I'm so ignorant. Am I to kiss you now? Is the moment come? Yes. She kisses his lips, he kisses hers. They solemnly bless each other. The spare hand does not tremble as he releases it. Nothing worse than a sweet, bright constancy is in the patient face. She goes next before him, is gone. The knitting women count 22. I am the resurrection and the life, saith the Lord. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. So here Sidney Carton once again repeats this Bible verse that he repeated on the first night when he was in France as he walked through. I am the resurrection and the life. Remember that resurrection has been a theme throughout this entire book. We had Dr. Manette resurrected. We had Charles Darnay resurrected already twice. And now here he is resurrected again. And of those 3 times that he's saved, that he is brought back to life, each one, 2 of those 3 times, he has Sidney Carton to thank. And so this verse is very personal to him. The murmuring of many voices, the upturning of many faces, the pressing on of many footsteps in the outskirts of the crowd, so that it swells forward in a mass like one great heave of water, all flashes away. 23. And so there, that is the moment that Sidney Carton is executed. They said of him about the city that night that it was the peacefullest man's face ever beheld there. Many added that he looked sublime and prophetic. One of the most remarkable sufferers by the same axe, a woman, had asked at the foot of the same scaffold not long before to be allowed to write down the thoughts that were inspiring her. If he had given any utterance to his, and they were prophetic, they would have been this. So this is the thought process that goes on in Carton's mind as he's walking towards the guillotine to be put to death. I see Barsad and Sly, Defarge, the Vengeance, the juryman, the judge, long ranks of the new oppressors who have risen on the destruction of the old, perishing by this retributive instrument before it shall cease out of its present use. I see a beautiful city and of brilliant people rising from this abyss, and in their struggles to be truly free, in their triumphs and defeat, through long years to come, I see the evil of this time and the previous time of which this is the natural birth, gradually making expiation for itself and wearing out. So this is the part where it becomes prophetic. So this is kind of like an epilogue. This is kind of what is going to happen with all of our other characters. I see the lives for which I lay down my life, peaceful, useful, prosperous, and happy, in that England which I shall see no more. I see her with the child upon her bosom who bears my name. I see her father, aged and bent, but otherwise restored and faithful to all men in his healing office and at peace. I see the good old man, so long their friend, in 10 years' time, enriching them with all he has, and passing tranquilly to his reward. So we find out here Lucy is going to have another baby, another boy, and she is going to name him Sidney, after Sidney Carton. I see that I hold a sanctuary in their hearts and in the hearts of their descendants generations hence. I see her, an old woman, weeping for me on the anniversary of this day. I see her and her husband, their course done, lying side by side in their last earthly bed, and I know that each was not more honored or held sacred in another soul than I was in the souls of both. I see that child who lay upon her bosom and who bore my name, a man winning his way up in that path of life which was once mine. I see him winning it so well that my name is made illustrious there by the light of his. I see the blots I threw upon it faded away. I see him foremost of just judges and honored men, bringing a boy of my name with a forehead that I know and golden hair to this place, then fair to look upon with not a trace of this day's disfigurement. And I hear him tell the child my story with a tender and faltering voice. So one day this boy that Lucy has, who she names after Sidney, is going to grow up to become this great lawyer, and he's going to become a judge, and he's going to have children of his own, and he's going to bring those children to the place where Sidney Carton is executed, and he's going to tell the story of how Sidney Carton saved his father, how Sidney Carton made it so that he could exist at all. It is a far, far better thing that I do. Picking that up again. It is a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done. It is a far, far better rest that I go to than I have ever known. And that's the end of A Tale of Two Cities.